we're back. I have my VP6650 all on my bench here. I put a 256 gig SATA drive in here because today we're going to install Hyper-V. With Ventoy, I haven't turned this box on, so you guys are going to see exactly what I see, and I'm going to walk through setting it all up. Hopefully it goes well. If not, then you're going to see what I see. So I also have a, what's the model of this thing? QSW2104-2S QNAP switch. It's got two 10 gig SFP plus ports on the front of it and four 2.5 gig ports. Now, the reason why I wanted to do that is because I want to see if Hyper-V will negotiate at 2.5 gig with this switch. It's a dumb switch, so there's no VLANs, there's nothing like that. But I do have a 10 gig cable connected to it, to my main, I don't even know the model number of that, but I'll put it in here. My Grandstream link aggregate switch over there, that's in my rack. But I also have, because remember the VP6650 has many ports on it. It's got four 2.5 and two 10 gig SFP plus ports. So I have a active fiber optic cable here that I'm going to use for the 10 gig link. But we're going to go over all that in the video. First we need to do is turn it on and see what we get. Boot off of this stick. I should plug this in as it's not going to work on my desk. We'll plug it in. Oh, it's an upside down port. Bah. Okay, so I'm also recording all this so you guys can see what I see. Might be a little bit of pauses there. So let's see. We have the power, this big thick power cord. I'm going to switch over so that way just in case it turns on so you guys can see this here. Hold on. We'll screw that on there so that way it doesn't get pulled out halfway installing. And I see lights on, so it powers on by itself, which is good because that means after power state, it will boot what we see. Oh, there we go. Protectli. Oh, F11, so we'll push F11. Good thing I saw that because we would have had to go do a loop. So EUFI USB boot partition 2, which is on my Ventoy. Hopefully secure boot's not installed or enabled. We're back. The problem was I was going from HDMI to VGA and then out. And it didn't want to go that way. So now I have a new cable, which is DisplayPort to HDMI to my recorder and then out of my recorder to my monitor. Now we can see. So it boots perfectly fine. It's just going from HDMI out to this would not work because I only had HDMI to VGA and that didn't work. So that didn't work. Screen, so let's have a see what it does when we want to boot. So we want to go down to, I'm going to show you what it looks like booting from scratch. Function 11 for boot menu. We're going to go to that. And let's go to Windows Server. What do I have on here? .2022 is what I got. So that's what we're going to install. And I believe it's a beta, so is what it is because that's what I have. Boot normal mode. Press enter. Loading files. I'm going to put me up here so that way we can see. Let's walk through the basic install here. My question to myself is it going to see two different drives? And inside the box, there's a 1 terabyte NVMe and a 256 gig basic SATA drive. OS is going to live on the SATA drive. Next, install now. We're going to go standard desktop experience because I like to see the GUI. Then we'll go next. We accept. We're only using this for a demo. Custom. Ah, look at this. So let's delete all these because there was probably something on my 250. Partition, delete. Okay, so we see our 256 gig SSD here and our 1 terabyte. The 1 terabyte is we're going to put all the VMs on. The OS will live on the 256 gig. And it does see it, so that's perfect. So let's go next. As that's installing, I have some cables here to connect to this. So I'm going to connect just one, and I'm going to use the blue one because on this I'm going to dedicate one network card for management and remoting into the box. The rest of them, we'll set up different VMs maybe, but usually what I want to do is I want to push all the traffic for the VMs out of the 10 gig link. Let's go port 1, and we'll plug it into the switch. Port 3. Do we have link? Oh, we got link, so that's good. Now Windows is going to have to tell us if we got proper link. I don't know if I'm going to have to go get drivers or if Windows Server is going to have a 2 gig NIC driver in there. They are Intel, so it should work. We'll see. I don't know. We do have this fancy direct cable, but I'm going to attach that after we get everything working in the box because I might have to do drivers. So as this is installing, let's do that and I'll come back. Windows is installed. It's just about to reboot. I'm going to click reboot because I can. Oh, black screen. We'll pull out my thumb drive with Ventoy on it. If you guys haven't heard of that, go try it. It's free. It's nice. You buy like a 256 gig USB stick and just dump ISOs on it. The nice thing about it is if you keep adding ISOs to it, you just drop on there and it sees it. It works great. Okay, customize settings. Password. Do we have network activity? I see a globe, but doesn't know if that means anything. Oh, there's a fan in here? Oh, I didn't know that. I just heard it ramp up a little. Huh, there's a fan inside this box. Oh, that's hilarious. Windows D. Let's see if we can change this scale a little bit. Display settings. Whoa, that's really big. Can we go to, 800 by 600? Oh, I didn't like that video card. Ooh, Windows. Device manager. Oh no, guys, we're gonna have to go out and get drivers. All right, I'm gonna go get the drivers and then come back. This looks like fun. I'm gonna have to go scope the website and see what we can find. So you guys stay tuned. We're right back. After a bit of fiddling around with this and driver searching and having a lot of hair loss, I emailed Protectli and said, I'm not having a good time trying to get the drivers loaded on this and getting things working perfectly. Now, Windows default installed the 10 gig adapters work perfect. But the problem is I found drivers that were not working but were working. So after talking to the guys at Protectli from their office or awesome support, they emailed me a whole driver pack. So I put this thing back to the way it was, the way I installed it. And now I'm going to show you guys how to install the drivers and get it all working. And then after that, we'll create a couple VMs and stuff like that. But we need to install all the drivers. And I can verify that this thing was very, very, very stable and quick. Recommended to buy this now that it's stable with the proper drivers? Yes. Let's jump in. First, we need our thumb drive with all our drivers on it. You'll notice that the screen resolution has changed because Windows went out and did an update and it found the correct display driver, but we're going to install over top of that. We'll copy them to the C drive, and I usually put them in a little temp folder. That way I can always find them later on. We'll install all the EXEs first, then we'll reboot, and then after that I'll show you how to get the network card drivers working perfectly. So let's do this one first. I'm just going to go down the list and just get them going because there's no special order. Finished. That's one. And the graphics driver, it's probably the newest driver, other and better than Windows, so I'm going to install that. Stability. You'll notice that, maybe you might hear it, the fans are ramped up and they're working. I'll switch screen so you can see it maybe. See the fans down there? I took the plate off, this little guy, because I was like, hey, is there fans in here? There's fans in here. There's two of them. It's running right now because it's doing some work, but you'll see down here, there's two little fans. There's one there and one there. Pretty sweet. Okay, graphics driver, begin installation. We'll just do the basics. Start, logical, yep. As this is doing a driver install, I need to change the system name to what I want it to be. Oh, figures, it's doing that as I want to do this. Rename this PC. Lab vhost. There we go. Lab vhost. Next. Restart later. Oh, and there's another setting. Since Windows Server gives you 30 seconds to turn on, there's another setting I wanted to change, which is under System, Advanced System Settings, I believe. Yep, and Advanced, Startup and Recover. I'm going to turn this off, so that way it just boots right into Windows perfectly, without the 30-second delay. You can tell he's jumping around because he's got network activities, probably doing Windows updates and stuff. We'll go finish. That one's done. Let's do the other two here. The patch for the CPU for Alder Lake. Done. And then the serial. Now you don't technically need the serial, but I personally like to install all drivers so everything's ready to go for stability. But they included it, so I'm going to install it. We'll go OK. We'll restart the computer in a minute. Okay, so let's go restart now. Very quick device. I really like this. Server manager. I haven't turned that off yet. We'll just minimize this. Okay, the hardest thing that I found was the network card. So let's go device manager. We'll see that we have 4 Ethernet adapters, and that's the 4 on the front of the unit. Only one of them's plugged in, and the reason why that is because I want to identify one and then set the management and stuff, but I'll show you that. So we need to go to here, PC, to our temp file, and in here, this is our drivers. So what we'll do is we'll go Control A, C, new folder, we'll put it in here to temp. We'll just call it, oh, down here, NIC 2.5 drivers. Okay. Now, we don't just double click on them and install them. We have to actually do it a tricky way. Now watch this. Right click, up the driver, browse my computer, but we don't want it to just point to the actual driver. It won't work that way. For some reason, we have to force it to this. So we go pick from the source, the selection here, all the way down to here. We select network adapters, and we go next. And then we go have disk. So we go browse, system 32, C, temp, NIC drivers. And we'll go open. Oh, did I not paste them in there? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Wouldn't that be funny? Temp. No, I didn't paste them in there. Whoops. Now it'll work. So there's our INF file. We go OK. And now we'll see a whole list of drivers. And we want to click the I226LM driver right here. So we go next. It's going to say device is not recommended because Windows cannot verify because there's no verification. We'll just push yes. And it's installed. So there's one. We'll do the same thing 3 more times. Now, as you can see, all the network cards are installed and they're all working. Only one of them's plugged in. So we go ncpa.cpl. Oh, forgot the A. This keyboard's kind of small, not used to it. So go into our network. We can see that we have 4, 5, 6 network adapters. We have 2 10 gig and 4 2.5. There's only 2 installed, but we can see that there's 226LM. So I want to right click on this and go rename. I'm going to call it management. Probably spelled it wrong because I can't see, but we'll leave it at that. Then I want to set a static address so I can remote into it after. We'll go OK. It's online. And the other one that's installed, which is Ethernet 2, is a 10 gig. We could prove that because it's sitting at 10 gig. And the details show us that it's in this network card right here. Okay? But I want to rename that. And we're going to call this VM network. Oh, can't see. Okay, easy. Now we just need to install Hyper-V and make sure that that works. So we got to go to our services over here. I don't care. And we want to go add roles or features. Next, role-based on this machine. Hyper-V, add features. Next, next, next. And we want to use this network card right here for all the network and VM traffic on this box. And we'll go next. Next, and we want to change this. Now, before we go too far, we want to set up our storage. Now, sometimes you can do this before, but I'm going to do it after because I forgot to do it. So we go here, disk management. There's a disk in here that's a 1 terabyte in the box. That's an NVMe. It's fast. So we'll go simple volume here. I'm going to call these V drive for virtual machines. We're going to call it VM data. Okay. Next. Finish. It's there. Now we'll be able to go here. Now, hard to see on the screen here. This wants us to set up 2 different folders. So what I do is when I do this is I create 2 folders in the root directory. One we want to call virtual HDisks, so virtual hard disks, and then another one called Hyper-V. New folder Hyper-V, basically how they're set up in the actual thing here. Now we'll just point these 2 directories. So this PC, VM, virtual hard disks. This one will be Hyper-V. This PC. This one, Hyper-V. Done. Now everything will live on that machine or those drives. Next, install. As it's installing, I downloaded a whole bunch of virtual or ISO so we can install some Windows versions. So, on this Ventoy stick, we have a stick here. Let's go to Ventoy and let's grab a bunch of VMs. Before we do that, we need to make a folder on the C drive, and I call this ISOs. Now we could put them on the 1 terabyte, but I want to keep all of that for the virtual machines. Go here. So we want to crap sure. Oh, this one. Hard to see on a white screen. You can't really see everything. So let's grab this one, that one. Sure, we'll grab that one. Windows 11, Windows 10. Anything else I want? Oh, we'll grab that one too. So we'll copy all these, paste them here. Then we'll make a whole bunch of virtual machines. What's this guy doing? Performance, 6%. Hardly doing anything. The files are copied over. We got to make sure that we have to reboot this box because a service was installed. Now it says restart is pending, so let's restart this. I'll put a link to the active cable that I got. For some reason, when I ordered it off Amazon, it said it's a 10G Tech cable, but it came in an FS box bag. I don't know why, but whatever. Put a link below so you guys can use the cable that I'm using here. And I'll also put a link to the QNAP switch, because it's a QSW2104 2S. Plain Jane, no VLANs, nothing, just a dummy switch. But it's got 4 2.5 gig ports and 2 SFP plus ports. I believe our box is booted. We got the drivers installed, Hyper-V installed, Windows Update. Now let's create a VM. Shouldn't be too bad. Let's do Windows 11 first. I'm going to show you guys a trick because you have to enable the TPM, but let's show you how to do that. Let's launch Hyper-V, create a new virtual machine. Next, we'll name it. So we'll call it lab-w. Next, we need to select generation 2. You have to do that. I'll go next, and I go like this for my RAM. 1024 times 8. Windows likes equal amounts of RAM, so that's what I do. 8192, and this keyboard is hard to type on because it's so small. Next, we'll connect it to our 10 gig network card. 128 is big enough. We're just doing a test. Go next. We'll select our ISO. Just in C, ISOs, Windows 11, open, next. Finished. Now, Hyper-V always sets up a virtual machine with 1 core. I don't know why it does that, but let's fix that too. So we're gonna go processors. We'll give it 4, that should be enough. Apply it. And security, we need to make sure that secure boot's enabled trusted platform module is enabled, and then that's it. It should work. We should be able to push apply. Okay. And can we boot this? Let's see what happens. Double click on that. And turn it on. There we go. It's gonna boot. Push enter to boot up into a CD. Now the real test is you get a certain stage in Windows 11 and then it'll say if it sees the TPM and then it'll fully install. Pretty sure it'll work because I've done this lots. We'll leave it at the default. Install. Let's see what our cores are doing here. Here, performance, logical. We'll just see what kind of stuff's bouncing around as we're installing it. I don't have a product key because we're going to be wiping it, so we'll push I don't. We'll select 11 Pro. I accept. Next. Custom. It sees the drive. Next. And we're success. Because if you didn't have the TPM, it wouldn't have got this far. So I'm going to let it install Windows, and then we'll come back. Fully installed, so let's just go to the wizard. United States, sure. Keyboard, right, sure. You want to add a second one? Skip. Looks like the updates are done, so let's name this device Lab-W11. Next. As it's doing that, let's build another VM. Let's do Windows 10. So we can go here, Lab-W10. We can go next. We could stick with Generation 11 or Generation 1. It'll work just fine. Next. How much RAM do you want to give it? Same. 8192. 8192. We got 64 gigs of RAM in here, so why not? Let's go next. We want to connect it to the virtual switch. These are all fine because we're not going to do anything special. ISO file here. Windows 10. Next. Finish. Let's give it more cores though. Let's go settings. Processors. We'll give it 4. Let's see if it boots. There it goes. We'll just push this over here. Well, let's minimize it actually. Let's see what this wants. Personal use. Next. Sign in. Let's see if this works still. None@none.com. Password is none for you. It's gonna fail. Duh. Next. We'll go none@none.com again. No, stupid Windows. Ah, there we go. So we just have to keep doing it a couple times. Enter your name. Jason. We'll use that. Password. None. Don't need one. Last time I did this, I just put it in there 3 times and it worked, but maybe this time it needs 5. We're going to decline all of these. Accept. It's going to do some more updates, but let's go back to Windows 10. Let's see here. English, next, install. Just showing you guys this so that way you guys can see how easy it is and that it works with this box. Okay, we'll let those install and we'll come back and then we might wrap it up, but pretty simple to do. If you install the drivers, the machine does exactly what it is, and can't think of anything else I need to show you about this box, but I might do a video 3, but we'll go from there. So hold on, let's do the up. Both Windows are updated and installed and ready to use. I'm just going to show you that they're online, their cores, the RAM, basics right now, because there's nothing special I need to show, because you'll tailor to what you want. But look right here. So we got Task Manager on our Windows 10. We have 4 CPUs. So if we go here, we have 4 that we gave it. We have the 8 gigs of RAM that we gave it. So that works just fine. And I believe if we check its network connection, ncpa.cpl, and I still have the hiccups, this should be still connected at 10 gigabit because it's going through that 10 gig network card. Okay, I'm going to close that, shut that one off. Let's do the same thing to this one. So Windows 11, Task Manager, CPU, we got 4 cores, so change to logical. We got 4 cores, 8 gigs of RAM, and if we check the network card, we have 10 gig. Pretty easy install. We got a stable box with all the drivers. We got 4 2.5 gig NICs. We can use those for whatever we want. Say if we have a switch that's not managed, we can push VMs out each network card, or we could use the 10 gig adapter and push them all out that. Lots of little options to do, but it's nice to see that we have 10 and 2.5. I'm gonna leave the video at that, but if you have any questions, let me know. The guys over at Protectli are working on some documentation with some new drivers for us to use, as I've verified them and another person has verified them. So you guys will be successfully being able to use this box in the same configure I have. 64 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD with a 1 terabyte NVMe. This box will be perfect. And yes, it's still running without the fan, the shroud that goes over top, and it's cool. It's not hot. Fans do ramp up when you're installing and doing things, obviously, because the CPU is getting hotter and hotter and it's designed to be cool. But there's my little video. If you have any questions, let me know. Like and subscribe to Jason's Lab, and we'll go from there. You guys have a great day. See you later.